Clemson's the best team Boston College has played all year, and BC is going to have to play a lot better if they want to have a chance against the Tigers.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network. I've been covering Boston College for over a decade. If you are looking for Boston College news, analysis, and details on your Eagles, you are in the right place. Locked On Boston College is a free daily Boston College podcast available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. On today's show, we're going to look at alumni renovations. They're coming. What do they mean? Omar Thornton, he's been a bit of an enigma. I'll tell you the positives and negatives and where things stand on one of the BC's most controversial players. And BC, can they beat Clemson? Let's dive in. So BC they're back home this week after the drubbing that we saw against Pitt last weekend. And things are not going to get easier. It's like jumping from the fire into the pot. As they host at home the Clemson Tigers and Dabo Swinney. Now, BC has not beaten Clemson in, I think, 15, 20 years. It feels like it's been forever. And it has not been particularly there's not been a very good contest for many of these games. Now, recently, there's been games that have been closer. We all remember the Alec Lindstrom fumble. Sorry, Alec. We've also remembered the game where BC went to Death Valley in 2020. There's been plenty of games where BC has stayed close. But it's just this vibe right now. The vibe right now is not good, as the kids would say, because BC does not feel like they're in the same league as Clemson, which is a shame because Clemson is, they have not had a good season for Dabo Swinney. They just beat the snot out of UNC. They have really put the nail in the coffin for Bill Belichick and that whole debacle going on in Chapel Hill. But they also lost to Syracuse, lost to Texas. Not lost to Texas. LSU, and lost to Georgia Tech. And barely beat Troy. So you saw those games and you're going, is this the same Clemson team? Short answer, with the way BC's playing, treat them like they're the same Clemson team. Because you look up and down this roster, they have, a lot of players that are better than any player that you have. Whether it's Antonio Williams or Bryant Wesco or Cade Klubnik or many of their offensive linemen or Peter Woods or, their cornerback that they have. They've got a lot of talent on this team. Now, the big question for BC is going to be a two-prong approach. Injuries. Will they be getting any of these guys back? We do not know anything about the status of any of these injuries that are out. We don't know what's going on with Jaden Skeet. We don't know what's going on with Davion Crouch. We don't know what's going on with Amari Jackson. We just know they've been out. And the staff is being quiet about injuries. And I get it. It's a strategic advantage there. But if they're out, those are big losses. You need some of those guys back. Additionally, I am looking more forward to what's the fight left in this team? Because the fight against Pitt did not look very good. It looked like they were kind of going through the motions and Pitt tore them apart. Does this team still have pride in them? Does this team still want to win these games? And finally, the last piece is the staff going to get them in a position to win? I'm not into the blame the coaching staff for everything, but there's definitely parts of these games that have made me feel like they're not doing the best they can do to get this group going. So all of those things are going to go into a game against Clemson, and you're going to need to play your best football game. I don't care that Clemson's 2-3. They are the best 2-3 team in college football right now. And they are just going to get hungrier and hungrier. You look what they did to UNC. UNC, if you look at the ACC rankings, is very similar to what BC is at. That was on the road too. If they can do that to UNC, they can do that to you. So I'm worried about this game because I look specifically, there's certain matchups that there's a lot of matchups in this game that I go, it's even harder than what we just saw against Pitt. The big issue you had against Pitt was you're playing a lot of your second and third guys on your depth chart against good players that have been around forever. You're running into that problem, but against blue chip recruits against Clemson. So that part makes me worried. That's why when it comes to Friday, you best believe I'm not picking BC in this game. I mean, I have a reputation to uphold here, folks. I can't just go and pick BC every time. But I'm still kind of curious what kind of fight Boston College has in them. They need to treat this like it's their Super Bowl. Really, we've joked about like how UConn and UMass treats BC like their Super Bowl. This game needs to be BC's Super Bowl. Because if you win this, all of a sudden you're feeling pretty good about yourself. You may not be a bowl eligible team, but hey, if you beat Clemson, that's a tip in your cap right there. So this team needs to go out there, Jazz. You're going to be at home. I know the fan base is a little bit pretty upset about how things have been going, but it's a night game. Folks are going to be out there. They're going to be lubed up on, from tailgating, and they're going to be in good shape. It's going to be hopefully a good crowd, and hopefully it's not going to be a overwhelmingly pro Clemson crowd, even though I think it could be. So you have that piece that I think could make this game closer. But when you look at, like, for instance, let's just look at the wide receivers. I kind of mentioned them just a little bit. You are facing the two best wide receivers in the ACC, arguably. Bryant Wesco is faster than any guy you've faced this year, and Antonio Williams is going to be a first-round draft pick. I am very concerned with what BC has for their depth chart at wide receiver and the issues that you have up front, that these two guys are going to eat you alive. Because you don't have the horses to stop it. You might have last year. You could have put, some of these guys that you had last year out there, and the way that Donovan Azaraku changed things, it made it a little easier. But that one matchup looks like an absolute nightmare. Then you look at, they have a good linebacker, just like you had last week. All of these things just make me very hesitant to think that BC can actually pull this off. I was hoping at the beginning of this year, and especially after Clemson started to struggle, that maybe this would be a great way for BC to show that they're taking that next step. But obviously they've taken 3 steps backwards, and they're so far back now that I'm not sure that they can take that step forward against Clemson. Maybe it'll come against another team, but not Clemson. So that's a tough pill to swallow right now. Now, if you listen to Bill Bryant today, he's got his own motto, and I get what he's doing. If you listen to his press conference from the last 2 games, and I think he's done it for a bunch of games, he is absorbing all the criticism. He is saying it's all his fault, everything he has experience in, and that it's him. So he's deflecting off of his coaches. He's deflecting off of his players. And some of the things he says, clearly he probably has other thoughts than just blaming himself. But he's trying his best to keep his team behind him and take all the spears and grenades thrown his way. So that's kind of where his mind frame is right now. Now, their practice are all closed, but I'm hoping that, we'll have Mitchell Wolf on Friday, that there's certain things that are just a mess. Tackling, getting to the ball, all those things, they need to fix this up. And they need a leader out there. Who's the leader out in the field? It's a small thing, but last year you had Azaraku, you had Drew Kendall, you had Ozzy Trapillo, Jack Conley. You had all these grad students, Cam Arnold, even when he was healthy. You look at the team this year. Who do you got? Jude Bowery? He seems like a quieter guy. On defense, Q Hutchins. You don't see the leaders out there. They need that too. They need a guy that steps in and tries to calm them down when things get bad. So there's a lot going on in this game, and I'm very interested to see how BC handles this, because I think it's going to be it could get ugly. But if Bill O'Brien can fix this, if he can get things going, it'd be quite a game for them. But it's whether you have faith that they can do it or not. We'll have to wait to see about that on Saturday. Now, in a moment, Omar Thornton has been one of the biggest question marks on this team. One writer, Trevor Haas of the Boston Globe, had a very high praise for him. I have my thoughts on Omar Thornton. We'll get into that in just a moment. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August 2025. You can feel a Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make every drive feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. And with all real design, standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you end up leaving money on the table. And that's why there is Monarch Money. It's the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one easy-to-find interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've been putting off organizing your finances, Monarch is there for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart characterizations of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. I use it to help balance my our money in our house, making sure we're not spending too much on streaming or going out to dinner. It helps me track all of that and make sure that the money's going where it needs to go so that we can continue to grow. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONCollege. This is Locked On Boston College. AJ Black of Eagle Insider here. And shout out to all my everydayers out there who listen to Locked On Boston College every day. You've heard me talk about this game. You've heard me talk about this season. And I'm trying to make it interesting. I know when you're 1-4 and things are looking bleak, it's the last thing I want to talk about, but I'm trying to add some brevity to it. I mean, we had the Joker in earlier this week, but also to make things interesting. Now, I was reading the Boston Globe on Tuesday, and colleague Trevor Haas, who, writes about the BC, he's a beat writer, he's at press conferences and all that good stuff. He had a comment that I had some thoughts on, and that was where he said that Omar Thornton is the best. I think it was more of the caption of the title of a picture, that he was the best player on BC and the most exciting player on defense that makes that has been a real challenge for opposing offenses. And I got to say, the Omar Thornton love has been interesting over the last week. My dad texted me, hey, Omar Thornton, he's got to teach these other guys how to tackle. I had another person, it was either on social media or something, tell me basically the same thing. And hey, look, if you heard my camp coverage, I liked Omar Thornton during camp. This was a guy that went up on, Jordan McDonald, didn't care. He was hard hitting throughout everything during practice. So I get that piece. That being said, you got to watch the game film to see some of the challenges that he has. First of all, I think it was the Stanford game. One of those big touchdown runs, and I think it was Micah Ford's running touchdown. Omar Thornton whiffed hard on that run. You talk about bad tackling. If you guys are, and many of you are traumatized by that, that was one of the worst offenders of the season. He had that game. Against Cal, Mason Minnie catches that touchdown. If you watch the film from above, you see, I think it was Max Tucker that was on him. He struggled, but it looked like Omar Thornton had no idea what he was doing. He looked like he just was kind of lost. So he was kind of up for the game-losing touchdown. Against Pitt, he let up the opening touchdown. That was missed tackle by him, and had 5 missed tackles. It's 10 total this season. So I love the hard-hitting piece of Omar Thornton. He had a couple big hits against Pitt, and there was a play that Mitchell Wolf sent me that wasn't a hit, where Mason Heinschel was running on one sideline. He was kind of scooting out. Thornton I don't know how the heck he got that fast, was on the complete opposite side of the stadium and flew over and knocked him out for just a short gain. He flew. So that piece I get. So my main beef with what Trevor was saying was he was the most valuable player on on BC. That's absolutely not true. That would be Lewis Bond or Drew or Reed Harris. It would be one of those two. I'd have a hard time putting him on the most valuable player on defense either. I know he has an interception, and he's made a few plays here and there, but his lows are real low. So he has his highs, but his lows have really kind of made it so I couldn't see him that. I mean, defensive wise, I'd probably put like Quan Williams or KP Price as your best defensive player. So I don't, like I said to my dad, I sent him a message that said he had 5 missed tackles against Pitt. Just because he crushed a few doesn't mean that he's doing a great job with that. That being said, I do like Omar Thornton. No, I'm not the biggest fan of him right now, and I've come around to should he be benched? I don't think he should. After watching him miss a big amount of tackles, I thought to myself, yeah, you got to bench this guy. He's a real liability, but I don't think that anymore. I think he should be playing. He's kind of like, I kind of view his development almost like Dylan Lonergan, where Dylan Lonergan on yesterday's show, if you were every day or listening to that, I said he's going to, the season's gone. Just let him get his lumps and grow from it. I kind of feel the same way about Omar Thornton. Like, he's a sophomore. He's only played a certain amount of snaps. Like, let him learn through it too, because they both have the physical talent to do all the things, like whether it's throwing the ball for Lonergan or crushing someone with a huge tackle in Thornton. But clearly with both, we've seen a bunch of issues that have really kind of stunted how far they are now. So I love Omar Thornton. I would love to see him play more. I just don't think he should be praised to the level that he is yet. I think he'll get there. I just don't think he's there yet. And that, going back to the MVP of the team, that tells you how rough this season is. Like, I could put Reed Harris as the number one or Lewis Bond because they're both just great pass catchers. But after that, it's quite a drop off. And that's kind of where things are at with BC, because it doesn't seem like they have enough talent to go against these ACC schools, which is a big problem. Now, in our final segment, yay. The Alumni Stadium is getting renovations. But unless you make mucho dinero, it may be out of your price range. I'll explain what that means in just a moment. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley's rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in just under a minute because I don't have time to sit there and just do fantasy sports. Prize Picks, in and out. And I love stacks. So if you want to ride with the player, I can select their pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. So download the Price Pick app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. The Charitable Irish Society has been part of Boston's history since 1737, making it the oldest Irish society in the Americas. With deep ties to Boston College, its leaders and members continue a proud tradition of service. Today, the society is still living its mission, raising thousands of dollars each year to help immigrants in need, Irish and non-Irish alike. Last year, their support helped a family from Northern Ireland who faced a medical crisis and couldn't cover rent and bills. You can be part of that impact. Membership is just $75 a year, and it goes directly to helping families when they need it most. And mark your calendar. The annual Silver Key Dinner is coming up October 29th at the UMass Club honoring Archbishop Henning. Get your tickets at the annual Silver Key Dinner and join the Charitable Irish Society today at www.charitableirishtsociety.org. This is Locked On Boston College. I am your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider, and shout out to everyone who makes us your first listen every single day. If you turn on your TV or your Roku and you get Locked On BC first, you are the GOAT. I think each and every one of you who have done exactly that. Now, Alumni Stadium is an older stadium that I feel is in dire need of renovations. It's not the worst stadium in the world in terms of what it looks like and how it feels, but the amenities and the extras of the stadium just severely lacked. I mean, if you're listening to this, you've been to a game. The underneath there it's as mid as it gets, and mid's being nice. You have beer lines that are too long. You have the bleachers up in the upper decks that don't have bathrooms still, which is mind-boggling. And then the bigger issue from a money perspective is the high revenue seats are just way behind. And BC has now changed that. Per their website, with an article entitled Alumni Stadium Premium Seating Renovations, BC is announcing, here's what it is. Boston College is excited to announce plans for a premium seating and renovation at Alumni Stadium. This project will introduce more than 1,700 premium and regular seat backs, including chairback seating, loge boxes, and rail seating, all designed to enhance comfort and provide clearly defined personal space for guests. It would also feature a protected seating area with controlled access, ensuring an exclusive experience not available to the general public. In addition, this project includes the creation of 2 club spaces that will be utilized during home football games and will also serve as versatile venues for a variety of events through the season. Now, if you go to the website, you can see what they have. First of all, they have the premium seating. This is the Section D. There's 160 seats. They cost you, ready? Individual seat price, $6,000, including a $1,000 donor-based seating requirement. So that's set, or I don't know if it includes, whatever it is, it's still $6,000 for BC football teams seats. What you get with it is a 23.5-inch leather seat back and a viewpoint in between the 40-yard lines. It comes with access to the pub club located under Section D, and with special dining options, complimentary beer and wine, and as well as a cash bar for liquor and mixed drinks. And this is all pending the City of Boston approval, so it hasn't been approved yet. But $6,000. Now, they have more, including many with chairbacks. And they can go up into the loge box where it costs you for this is for multiple seats. It's up to $20,000 for the box. So BC is looking to make some money. Now, 2 things that stick out to me about this new announcement, whether it happens or not. 1, I'm fine with them doing this, and I'm fine with them going for this first, because BC needs to increase their revenue streams as much as possible. BC has rich donors and rich people that follow the team, and maybe some of you are, that only want to do this kind of stuff if it feels exclusive, if it feels upper crust. And what BC has right now, if you've ever been one of the boxes, is about as opposite of upper crust as it gets. It's bad. Those boxes are bad. And so they're trying to get them up a level and having, clubs and all sorts of stuff. All the power to them. Get that money and make sure it goes to the football program. This money does not need to go to the Flynn Fund. This money doesn't need to go to general whatever. It needs to go to football. BC football needs as much revenue as it can get. So if you got some, high rollers that are spending this kind of money, put that money into spending it for staff and all the stuff I talked about yesterday. That's why this is important. Get that now. Because if those all get filled up, you could be making millions extra each year, and that's a good thing. But I get you folks out there that are frustrated by this because you all sit on bleachers, and the bathroom lines are atrocious. The beer lines are awful. There's not really anything, that stands out. So my hope, and I'm thinking this is where they're going to go with this is the first step in a multi layout of renovations for BC, because I think you start with the moneymaker and then you build back. So as I've said before, beer gardens, getting seat backs at some spots, adding some different venues, adding bathrooms in the upper deck. All of those things need to be added. But BC is, as we've said before, needs to find ways to continue to grow the revenue stream, to buy extra staff members, to add to their program. This is a good first step. And so you can check all that out. I believe it's starting in 2026, even though it has not been said on their website when this starts. But you can see pictures and all that good stuff. Now, on tomorrow's show, I believe, I'm still finishing it up, but I believe I'm going to be on with Locked On Clemson for a crossover episode between Locked On Clemson and Locked On BC. And on Friday, we'll have the Joker, Mitch Wolf, back on. So check that out as well. Follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. You can check me out on Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm all on there. Make sure you find us there. And thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you again tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.